Today we have a very bright HR professional with us, Priyanka Mohanty. She's actually an engineer and started her career reading lots about machines, and then she wanted to understand how human behave, and that's why HR was the choice for her as a profession. And for last so many years, she has won so many awards that I actually did not, count after a point of time. So awards, several awards, which were 40 under 40. And it also shows that the type of career trajectory she has gone through and done a lot of good work. Right now, she is Vice President HR, Global Talent Management, Engagement, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Startek. And I can say that she is doing quite a lot in terms of the portfolio she's handling. And that makes me ask her a very simple question, that how does she define happiness? So Priyanka, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ashish, for the wonderful introduction. And I think before I start, I wanted to really congratulate you on the good work, that you are doing in your own domain. I think I am an ardent follower of you, your team, and also, the organization that you're working right now. I think it's your own brainchild. So kudos and all the best, Ashish, for the future.
Thank you.
I think coming back to the question, what is happiness for me? I think happiness for me basically is, being in a state of harmony in whatever I do, with respect to the choices that I have made in life. And I also think that it's not just about joys, it's not just about smiles. I think happiness means embracing the chaos, the uncertainty, the havoc, and the messiness that actually comes along when you exist in this unpredictable world. And honestly, as you said, I come from an engineering background, and in my earlier days, I used to think that I could earn happiness by, maximizing my full potential, be it in terms of professional or be it in terms of personal life. But I think over a period of time, what I have realized is that disappointments, failure, personal shortcomings, and uncomfortable emotions that also need to be a part of your life. And happiness, I think it's not just transcending those emotions, through accomplishments, but rather embracing that entire, the chaos in its completeness. So I think happiness will only be achieved if I embrace each of these moments. And happiness will mean different things for different people. It could mean just maybe seeing my son smile. For my son, it could mean seeing me smile. For my mother, it could mean simply feeding me all the time. For my father or for my dad, it could mean, probably going out, onto the road and telling even the vegetable vendor that, hey, my daughter has got through engineering, my daughter has got through MBA, my daughter has won this, my daughter is speaking on this platform. So for him, happiness is just like that. And but I honestly, Ashish, to sum it up, I think happiness is just being able to ride that wave of every emotion that life throws at you. And I think while we were also having a conversation earlier, I think I'll pick something from there as well. To sum it up, I think when we try and see that whatever life throws at us, actually we take it in its completeness, then I think that can happen probably through three things. One is, of course, the skills. You need to develop the skills, as you rightly said, in our conversations earlier. Resilience, empathy, courage, focus. It could be anything, or even the resources. So it could actually be a positive mindset, or simply your community, your cheerleaders that will help you to be happy. But I think one of the worst mistakes that people do is knowing what will make us happy, but not allowing that thing to actually come to us or set in. So I think, yes, that's what happiness is for me. It's a mindset that's definitely within our control. So you, instead of seeing outside, all you have to do is probably just take a U-turn and see inward, and I think you will really find happiness.
Brilliant. I think this is a great opening statement. In fact, this is what the discussion is all about. I think I don't need to ask any other question per se. If you people have understood this part, then everything is taken care of. But then I will still ask you this question because it's easy to say, but very difficult to practice. Why do you think people find it difficult to remain calm in terms of difficulties which they face in life, and start thinking that life is not beautiful. But the same people, if you reflect back on the same problems 5 years later, you will realize that that was nothing. So why this happens? What's your take on this aspect of our behavior?
It's a brilliant question, Ashish. And honestly, there is a lot of pressure, and I think there is a lot of anxiety also surrounding this whole topic of happiness. Because I think for a majority of us, and I was really no exception, that for us, at some point in time, happiness actually became a goal. What we all did was we just chased it, and without enjoying the entire process. I think a lot of people don't know. I also write quite a bit. So when I say I write quite a bit, of course I've not published books, but then I've written. I'm part of several anthologies. So I've written articles, various articles, and a lot of them have got published in the form of paperback versions, in the form of books. So and I'll give you that example of writing. When I sit down to write, the feeling that I get, it takes me to a totally different plateau. And I enjoy the entire process rather than thinking that, whether that article will be published or will it not be published. So I think for each one of us, we all have that one thing which gives us, that happiness. So it could be writing, it could be painting, it could be drawing, it could be cycling, it could be walking, anything. So I think instead of actually chasing, happiness as an end goal, if we can probably try to just enjoy the process, we can just align our values, our passion to that thing, and be actively involved in that, do what we enjoy, and of course live in the present. I think it's very, very important for all of us to live in the present. I always believe, that there are 2 days about which you really can't do anything, and that's yesterday and tomorrow. So all that we have is today. And so in that today, I think let's just pursue what we enjoy. Let's not look at others and compare, because I think happiness, everyone has their own version of happiness. If we just, compare, look at others and compare, then probably we will only be chasing their own version of happiness. Then just, again, I'll repeat, then just taking a U-turn and look at oneself and say that, this is what happiness is meant for me. I will not chase it, but I will enjoy the whole process. So I think if we all understand that, and it took me a lot of time to understand that, I think, but life is better with this.
Whenever I speak to young population, students and youngsters who are just joining job, I ask them what is happiness, and whenever I try to teach them, enjoy the process, don't be in a hurry, money does not make you happy. They say, thank you very much. I don't understand whatever you are saying. And it is whatever you are saying does not make sense to me. How many years you took to realize this? And why do you feel at young age, we keep chasing those things, which ultimately we realize that they don't make us happy. But at that point, that's the only thing which we chase. So why something like this will happen?
I agree to this. And honestly, Ashish, it really would be unfair to say that there is no correlation between money and happiness. There definitely is a correlation, but it is a very complex relationship, I think, that they have. So what money does, I feel, is, beyond the basic needs, it also brings us closer to support the things that we care. So it could be family, it could be education, it could be healthcare, it could be charity, it could be adventure, fun, entertainment. I think we all require money for that. And it also allows us, our freedom, I think our autonomy, our intangible freedom, which also relates to happiness at some point in time. But having said that, I think beyond a certain level, money does little to increase happiness. I will not say that, it is long lasting. So beyond a certain threshold, money will not do anything to increase your happiness. Because if you allow money, to be your source of happiness, then you will never be happy. And, I think let me just quote one or two examples or one or two things that come to my mind here. I think recently I was watching this series, on Netflix, The Squid Game. It's a very, very popular Korean series. So there were 6 games, and there were 456 contestants, who were playing those games to win a prize money of, I think, 45.6 billion South Korean won, which is around $38 million. So after all the 6 games were over, there was one winner, the protagonist. And he won, I mean, imagine 38 million US dollars. I really cannot imagine that much money as well. So going by our logic that money can get happiness, he should be the happiest person in this entire universe. But what did he do with that money? All that he did was, to fill the void in the lives of those people who had actually died in, while playing those games. So a brother has lost his sister, a mother lost her son. So he went there and he actually gave the money to them, and he took care of them. So and winning 38 million US dollars, and he left it untouched in the bank for so many months. So going by that logic, it really did not give him any happiness. In fact, talking of my own example also, I think my mother, she's a retired English professor, and she has been fighting. I can say we have been fighting a case against authorities, since the last 35 years. And the case, what's the case about? So basically, she has not received the adequate amount of, the scale at which a professor receives a salary. She has not received that. So in order to, get the areas, so she's fighting a case against, and we've won in High Court. We've even won in Supreme Court. We've filed a lot of contempts as well, but nothing has happened over the last 35 years. So ideally, even if she gets the money now, or we get the money now, will it actually bring us happiness? I think it's really a quest between justice and happiness now. Even if you look at the workplace, Ashish, I was reading an article yesterday where I think there was a study where 20,000 exit interviews were taken. I think there was a study on that where 89% of employers felt that people are actually leaving for money. But when the actual results came out, it was seen that only 12% of people left for money. So I think money is definitely one of the contributors, but we cannot make it a primary contributor in life because it will not be long lasting. So I think that's my take on money and happiness. It's a complex correlation.
Yes, absolutely. It's pretty complex. Somebody says that if you earn $75,000 per annum, then money ceases to give you that amount of kick which it gives you before that threshold. So it's pretty complex. So I won't go there. But I'm taking from your experience that money may be important, but not so important if you want to pursue happiness. But tell me, if happiness was so important for all of us, why in organizations till now we have not spoken about happiness as a concept? You are an engagement leader in your organization, and you will definitely be able to give me some idea about it. But in my consulting career also, I realized that people spoke about engagement as a concept, but happiness as a concept was not there. So before I get on to other question, I would like to understand, how do you differentiate as an organization that what is happiness and what is engagement?
Yes, I think this question is very, very pertinent. And especially when you're asking this question to me, I think I have spent more than a decade in my current organization. And Ashish, it cannot be just material things, which can make you stick to one organization. It has to be more than that. It has to be the intangible things. And I'm sure nobody else better than you understands, that this common word in Denmark, I don't know if I can pronounce it properly, but, arbejdsklæde, where I think where we feel good about our professional commitment, we feel good about our work. So yes, you are right. Couple of years ago, in fact, I don't think anybody would have even understood this concept of Happy Plus Consulting or a happiness coach, or maybe I think the motivational coach, a career counselor. None of us would have understood this. I think the concept of happiness was not there, but over a period of time, when the complexity of the business arose, and there was so much of globalization, there was so much of the customer needs were different. I think the entire working model now that we are in, that's completely changed. Coming from an ITES background and making this transitioning this entire BPO to a work at home, it was very, very challenging. Yet it was very, very seamless. So I think there are a lot of things which have evolved over the years, and people are now understanding that why happiness in the workplace is important. It's very, very important because happiness definitely has a multiplying effect. I think happiness is very contagious. So, people who are happy in the workplace, they will definitely make excellent role models.
Yeah.
And they often tend to be more successful, because also they have this, positive attitude, the can-do attitude. And I think happy employees go a long way supporting each other also. And even asking for support. It's not bad to ask for support. And last but not least, I think happy people, people like to work with happy people because as a team, I think they'll be really productive. So yes, while this concept was not there, I think over the years it has really evolved considering the nature of the business environment. But again, just to sum it up, I think the question again remains very, very pertinent, that who is responsible for that happiness? Your manager, your peers, your team, your work environment. So I think each of these, contribute a bit to the happiness. But I think you've also done a lot of research in this, but I think that employee is definitely the primary contributor. And I'm sure happiness will be the concept as we move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you are, if I can say, you are talking our language, because we say at the end of the day, if you have decided to be not happy, I can keep doing things for you, but you will not be happy. What, according to you, comes in the way for employees or people to understand that it's their reaction, it's their mindset about a situation which makes them feel happy or unhappy? And what are some of the things which you suggest we need to do to bring that awareness?
So, I think honestly, if you ask me, I think what people believe now, I mean, whether it's within the organizations or even outside the organizations, again, as I've already said earlier, that people always attach happiness to something. I think rather than just believing that, it is a mindset, it is a choice which, we need to make in our everyday lives. I think wherever we are in life now, we need to just, create that happiness and let it grow. Because, as I've said earlier also, we need not, life can knock you down so many times, but it's your attitude that get to life. And similarly, it is the same thing with organizations. Or normally we say that, okay, I'll be happy once, this deadline, I've met this deadline, or I've moved beyond this project, or I think if my manager changes, or, there are a couple, if my office changes, if I get work from home, I mean, so it's not that actually, as I said, the danger here is that, people are linking happiness to a goal. And I think that once we stop doing that, and I'm not saying that, goals are not important, goals are definitely important, but I think we should not always attach it to a goal. Let us actually enjoy the entire process, and let's just, attack those things which stop us from making happy. I think that's my take on this.
Okay, so that's interesting. We say that happiness is a mindset, and happiness is a habit. I also say that happiness is a verb, it's not an adjective, because you need to do something to feel happier. Sometimes people will say, no, just calm down, sit, relax, and see within. Then the youngsters ask me, how do I see within? Okay, I can't do that. So, how much you agree with the fact that it's about creating positive habits? It's about doing something which brings positive emotions to you, and after some point of time these positive emotions becomes your companion and you start feeling that you are happier. So what's your take on this thought, this train of thought?
I agree with you. I think, the thing that we can actually all do is just probably, just practice positive thinking every day. And of course, it might not sound as simple, but, just to explain it simply, we probably need to approach, that messiness or that unpleasantness in a more positive and a productive way. And so just think that, don't think of the worst. Think of, what can happen, what can go on. You think the best is going to happen, not the worst. Just a few examples that come to my mind, and which I also keep telling my team, that, instead of saying that I've never done it before, just say that, it's an opportunity to learn something new. And these are simple
Yeah,
examples at the workplace. Instead of saying, it's too complicated, just say that, okay, I'll tackle it from a different angle.
yeah,
No, instead of saying that, yeah, no one bothers to communicate with me, just try and open your channels of communication. You'll probably see the flow coming in. And
yeah,
I think we all should not say that, don't say that it's too radical a change. What have you given me? It's too radical a change. No, let's take a chance. It might happen. So I think, of course, my favorite thing is, it's not about why me. It always has to be why not me. So just go for it and practice positive thinking every day. And you need to identify your areas, that you would like to change. I'm sure everybody has something that, they don't like to do. It could be anything. It could be, commuting to work. It could be a particular project. It could be marriage. It could be anything. So whatever areas are there, I think just identify areas where you can change and inculcate that positive mindset. And finally, I think just follow a healthy lifestyle. I think that is very, very important. So eat well, exercise well, and sleep well. I think this will positively affect your, your brain and your nature of working. And finally, count your blessings, because don't give anybody else the permission to steal your joy. You have a lot of blessings. Count them, and you will feel better.
Yeah, it sounds like you are reading my mind in terms of the way I think about these things. But uh, I will come back to you with the same, query which a lot of people keep asking me. That once you arrive at a particular standard, when you have a lot of experience, then it becomes easier. Okay, and one of the data point I was going through, that the maximum number of suicides takes place in India between 18 years to 25 years gap. A lot of students are committing suicide, and they are young people. They would not have seen life the way you are explaining. If any youngster is
Mhm.
watching, what exactly will be your advice to them?
Okay, I think okay, it is a tough question, but so as you said, no. So what I'm talking is yes, of course, experience, but I think I will also explain. When I was young, I think so. When I say young, I think it was almost like 20 years back. So 20 years, I think I have actually kind of developed this mindset since then, because of probably a particular incident that has happened to me, and I think for them, I would like to share this incident. So after my engineering, I actually moved to a town in, I think it was 1,500 kilometers away from my hometown, and it was a place in South India. It was a very remote industrial town in South India, and I think I was the first female engineer to go there in a particular unit. So when I landed there, 11 months, I finished my 11 months were over during that period, and then I received a call. I received a call from my home, from my dad, asking me to come back home. And I said, why? And he said, and I was 20 at that point in time, 21 years, I remember. He said, your brother is no more. I had a younger brother. He was 17 years old, and I lost him at that point in time. That was in 2003. And at that point in time, Ashish, I cannot say what I felt, because I needed to get back home, and I had to travel 8 hours to board a flight, because that industrial town did not have any airport. So I boarded a flight, and I had never ever boarded a flight before. That was the first time that I actually boarded a flight. I moved back to my hometown, and there the first thing, when I entered the house, I saw my parents sitting. And at that point in time, when I was 20, I realized that, I needed to be strong. I cannot let, my guards fall at this point in time, when I have my parents sitting who have lost their only son. It was very, very difficult at that point in time, just being the only daughter and going forward. And in fact, the only child now, going forward and, emptying my brother's cupboards, clearing his school bag, giving away his books, telling his friends, when you see that that plate is no longer there beside you for lunch or for dinner, all his games were kept aside. I don't know from where I amassed the strength, but I just was very, very strong, because the only thing I knew was, if my brother sees us like this, breaking down, he will not like it. So I think from that point in time, my life changed. And I realized that whatever life throws at you, so, suicide or probably ending your own life, I think that should never be an option, because there is much more to life. Life doesn't stop here, as I said. Yes, life is an exam, where the syllabus is unknown, and, it's like the question papers are not set, but you need to move ahead in life. In life's assessment, it's with an unknown curriculum, but, honestly, you should never ever give up in life. I think one of the things that they can practice probably is just self love. I think that is something that is really missing now in today's journey, where we are so much involved in other things, that the one thing that we've forgotten is, self love. I think so. For them, I would just like to say that I think from a very young age, I have learned this, that, when life throws something at you, you just have to get out stronger, and there is nothing that cannot be solved. So there is that, the data, Ashish, that you raised, it's very, very alarming, of suicides. But then I think there is definitely a solution to everything. All you have to do is go ahead and seek that solution. So I think that's my take, Ashish, on
No,
this.
absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you completely, Priyanka. And I think one of the things which we are doing as Happy Plus is trying to instill all these learnings and make it available to people who are young. Because one of the things which happens at young age, that your brain's pleasure seeking part develops first, then your thinking part. So what happens, you expect a lot of thrill, you want a lot of thrill, but you don't think about the consequences. And I think at a very early age, we are trying to teach people these concepts of resilience, great, you know, it's about growth mindset. It's about the way you look at the way the way you look at difficulties and be ready to accept that and move. I think one of the mission we have is to take this concept to schools, in colleges, and teach this to youngsters, because they will grow up into an individual who can actually practice this throughout their life. So we are trying to do that. Now,
Absolutely. I think it's much needed.
Now, one of the things which I have come to the realization is that if you chase your own happiness, the chances of you feeling happier will be less. If we convert it to the other side and say that I need to make someone else happy, I think there is a correlation which says if somebody else is happy because of you, you will feel happier. How something like this can be practiced in an organizational setup where there is a lot of competition and people are trying to outdo each other to get that promotion or the increment? How will you ensure that something like this is also practiced in an environment where everybody is trying to be their best?
Yes, I think it's a very pertinent question again. And I think the only way that, and here when I'm saying, I think the only way that probably we can practice in organizations is, creating this concept of, allyship. So be allies to each other. I think it requires nothing, but it requires that one thing, that is empathy. And I think allies in the workplace, they are really the need of the hour. Whoever the person is next to us, be it part of your team or no, but try and understand and get that empathy, and then I think understand what they're going through, help them succeed, and help them thrive. So it's like, if you are in a position of, let's say, power and influence in your organization, you know and let's say you are having a team meeting. I'm just explaining in very, very simple words. If you're having a team meeting and you don't find somebody probably voicing out their perspectives, give them a chance. I think, and that say that, okay, we want to hear varied versions of this project ideas, so give them a chance. Pay close attention to your people next to you. Pay close attention to their words, to their ideas. Ensure participation from everyone in the team. Recognize their achievements. Be an ally. And because I think there are a lot of people in the organization who have a certain experience, they have a certain power, they have a certain position, and they can influence people. So that's how we can translate this giving in our organization in terms of allyship. So as people, in our organization who have certain control, we can also amplify the voices of people who probably are not, in that position. So let's amplify somebody else's story. Let's amplify somebody else's ideas, voices, which is in our control. It could be in the form of anything, but let's give them a platform. Let's elevate them. Let's encourage participation. Let's hear from them, and using this lens of empathy, and, let's create allies within our organization. I think I remember, I think a few months back, I had posted a picture of, me and my colleagues in Facebook. I think there were only three of us, me and my team, and we are working together since a very, very long time in that organization. And we call ourselves, each other's therapists, because every day is not the same at work. And when I posted this pic, that pic was really candid. We were, our sheet was completely out. We were totally unguarded. It was a very, very candid moment where we all were laughing. And when I posted that pic, there were a lot of questions that people, came up to me, and they said that, how can you be so unguarded at work? How do you even you need to maintain that, at your workplace? These are your colleagues, and you can't just, But then I said that, they said that, weren't you conscious? I said, no, we were just happy because we are allies to each other. We are therapists to each other, and we kind of create such many more allies, within the organization, just like us. So I think, if you ask me, this giving can be converted in the term of allyship in an organization. That's how I think.
So, so we are not prepared to understand happiness when we are studying, like in your normal course, engineering graduation, nobody teaches us about happiness. And then when you come to work, then again nobody teaches you about this, and you then learn this through your experiences, right? And some people give up, some people be stronger, the way you gave some examples. Don't you think that going forward in the future of work, we will be bringing in concepts like growth mindset, resilience, great empathy, and kindness when somebody joins you, right? And in the induction program, instead of teaching them only about the rules, regulations, policies, procedures of your firm, you also tell them that this is an organization where we will see you practicing this. So these are the tools which we are giving you to not only face difficulties in the organization here, but these are the skills for your lifetime. What's your take on that? How do you see the future in organizations coming in terms of concepts like this, which is going to be far more important than anything else?
And yes, Ashish. And in fact, in my earlier, conversation also, I was saying that this is going to be the future. As you said, a very beautiful word. Life skills. Teaching people, because all these things are really not taught anywhere. And I personally, when I'm also looking back now, I don't think in anywhere we've been taught these skills. I think we just made to adapt these skills in our organization because we are kind of, forced to adapt. But currently, and especially with the cohort of people now, in industries, specifically we talk about ITS industry also,
Yeah.
the cohort of people joining, they're all millennials, and for them, we know money, fame, well-being, inclusivity. I think all that matters a lot. But at the same time, they're always chasing the goals. If you look at that, they're always chasing the goals. And I think it's a very, very important concept for all the organizations to actually inculcate this in the beginning. And as you rightly said, during induction, because I think that's where, and it's kind of a transition, from their life to a work life. So that the transition phase is, the hiring and induction actually. So I think whatever, and also, this could be integrated in your company values program as well. Every company will have a set of values.
Yeah.
And I know that, companies, there's empathy, there is, it could be diversity, it could be human connection, it could be so many things. So I think if this is also integrated with the company values, and people can probably broadcast stories using those terms and those life skills. I think it's an amalgamation of that, and those can be actually projected to your new joiners. So I think that, and also they need to understand the impact that it has created in organizations. So I think showing them the impact is also very, very important, that how it can have a multiple effect, how it has a direct correlation on productivity, and how people who are happier probably support each other. And I think that's how the business will also understand, because ultimately we are in a business. And I think these skills correlated with your values and showing a business impact. I think if we, prepare that full circle, I think we are all set to inculcate this in our onboarding processes.
Super. I think can continue discussing this concept with you because your answers are pretty honest, to the point, unguarded. It's very practical, so I can continue asking you a lot of questions, but I know we have limited time, so I will ask you two more questions. One question is that we are surrounded with a lot of negativity. How do you shut yourself from negative influences around you?
Yes, you are right. I think in these times, I think there's a lot of negativity that is surrounding us, and especially the kind of life that we've been leading. I think last 2 years or more, because of there's so many changes. So I think, as I said earlier, I think for me, if you ask me personally, I think how I deal with it is, I just practice positive thinking. I think that's the only way I think that we can actually deal with it. So whichever negative element is there, I think we all just need to approach it in a meticulous way. And I kind of shut myself from negative influences, or just pursue your passion. If whenever I feel down, I open my laptop and I start writing. And those writing, it could be anything. It could be about life, it could be about my own personal experiences, it could be anything. So I think I just for people to actually shut down the negative influences, one is, of course, I think you need to follow your passion, align your passion to what you love doing. And if you do that, your mind will be so busy that you'll honestly have no time to for these negative influences to actually impact you. So do what you like and practice positive mindset. And last but not least, count your blessings. Because I think we all are very, very blessed in our own ways. What we have, probably somebody else might not have, or what they have, we might not have. So I think counting my blessings, practicing what I like to do during that moment, and practicing positive thinking every day. I think that has actually taught me, strengths that I never knew existed within me.
Yeah.
So, and don't just follow other people. Don't fake, or decide to choose the quintessential way of life just because others are leading it that way. Discover your own wings and stay happy. And I think that'll really help you.
Well, I think I just hope people listen to your words very carefully, and each of the sentences you said, while it may sound very simple, but I can tell you it's not easy to practice, but those who practice will experience happiness for sure. My last question to you is that you have, we know each other for a long time. You have been seeing Happy Plus taking birth in front of you, and you're looking it from outside. What do you make from outside, as a third party, looking at Happy Plus and a concept like this being brought in, and the relevance of this today and tomorrow? And what's the advice you'd like to give us, going forward, in keeping in mind the needs of organizations and companies across the globe?
For me, having been associated with you since so long, I initially I did not understand I was very, very curious as to what is this concept of happiness, and more importantly, how will it translate into organizations?
Yeah.
How will we actually translate this concept? Because it's a very, very general concept.
Yeah.
But eventually, when I think over a certain period of time, when I started, following your work, the kind of work that you do, and on social media. Plus, I also listened to your TEDx talk, and I also read Shamashi's article, your team's article, and plus I also read the testimonials of clients, where you've partnered with the clients and they're saying that yes, this is the reason. And recently I read, that on social media. So I think that's when I understood that yes, in this concept can definitely be translated into organizations. I mean, and you can also probably show an impact, because I think, as you said, and that too right at the starting level, because we really talk a lot about engagement, but I think we all need to realize that is something missing. When you see a certain variation, across your, even when you do surveys from outside organizations, and you see there's a lot of variation in score also. So what is the missing link? And as you rightly said, what
Yeah.
is the missing link? I think a lot of organizations are missing that itself, that so if probably, and also another very good thing which I realized after talking to you was, and understanding this concept, was that the responsibility, the primary responsibility, will be with the employee.
Yeah.
Of course, as an organization we will be there, but as the primary responsibility will be of the individual.
Yeah.
That's a very, very unique concept. And I think the timelines also that you mentioned, within 2 days you will give us results, and also the kind of in-depth analysis. I think you
Yeah.
showed me your app as well, and the kind of in-depth analysis, that's fabulous. I have not seen this. So
Thank
after
you.
working so many years in this engagement field.
No, thank you. And I think one of the reasons why I left my job in midst of pandemic, where everybody was saying that you stick to what you have got, don't go here and there. I felt that this was the right time, because there was so much of stress, so much of anxiety, and so much of stress. In fact, we keep doing surveys, and one of the surveys we found that around 70% people in organizations are extremely stressed, and half of them don't know where to go for help. Just imagine the helplessness you will feel working in an environment where you want to say things and you don't have anybody to go and talk. And I think that was the genesis of getting out with this bot called Bento, where we said, just
Yes.
express yourself, don't worry, because once you clear your mind with negative emotions, you can rewire. So I think, yeah, you are right. It's a concept where everybody has a PhD, and everybody can talk about happiness quite a lot, because it's a very personal thing. But converting that into a construct and then helping organizations see the value which we are bringing, I think it was very, very interesting journey for us. And I think we have just started. As you will know that we are coming out with an India research where we will rank all the states of the country. And the same concept which we are bringing in organizations, and saying that organization will do enough, but you have to take care of yourself. We are going to tell to governments of different states and government of India that, you know, you can do so many things, but at the end of the day, you also need to teach your citizens that you need to take care of yourself. Okay, and there will be a journey which you have to create that mindset. And then awareness programs, that curriculum in schools, colleges, institutions will what we will get into eventually. At the end, we want India to be in top 10 countries as far as happiness is concerned. So I think that's the mission, and thanks for contributing towards that journey. This, as I said, this conversation was very candid. It was extremely honest, and you gave a lot of perspectives, which were very simple, but if applied by people, they can feel very happier. And I think I can't thank you enough for giving your time and bearing with all the glitches which we went through today. And it also shows that how resilient you are. So thank you very much, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, Ashish. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I think I just want to wish you all the best, because this is something that we as organizations and definitely the nation needs.